hooked in the game.
Live from the Emirates Stadium tonight, the first leg was tightly poised at 1-1. Now, with no away goal advantage, this truly could go anywhere between Arsenal and Manchester City. How fatigued are both clubs from the Premier League clash? For a place in the first cup final of the season, Manchester City and Arsenal square up again. And now the odds are even, with one win apiece in the Premier League, and obviously the one draw that was part of the first leg. Of course, there are no away goals advantage in this one, so Arsenal don't go in with an away goal as opposed to what it would be in the Champions League. Foden has a chance to really overtake Martinelli in the goals department, because sadly for Arsenal, Gabriel Martinelli is out for the remainder of the season. Well, we wondered how seriously Mikel Arteta would take this one due to the Premier League encounter just last time out for them, but he is actually taking it rather seriously. Kai Havertz and Fabio Vieira are proof of that. And of course, there is Tomiyasu with Saliba and Gabriel and David Raya in the defence with Kieran Tierney. So I think what Arteta is thinking is probably don't concede any goals, and we'll see where we go from there. Of course, they have Saka and Isak on the bench, but whether Mikel Arteta will even revert to using them probably remains to be seen. Well, for City, it looks like it's actually a bit of a different squad to the one that started in the Premier League fixture. Isa Kabore has come in. I'm thinking he's a new signing, actually. Matheus Nunes was in the starting lineup last time out. Of course, Phil Foden and Arlen Haaland are in. And Joseo there, which I think... Joseo, did he play in the first... He played in the first leg, didn't he? He actually makes the bench today for this one. So City, I think, are in a third kit. I can't really say I'm a fan of it. And not really because of my kind of... allegiance to Manchester United. I just don't think the colours mesh well, to be honest. I'm not overly keen on it. I don't think the colours mesh well. I think that's the only real problem. But anyway, 1-1 then from the first leg, finally poised, and Mikel Arteta is taking this somewhat seriously. He has left out Bukayo Saka and Alexander Isak for Premier League reasons, so to speak, I would have thought. And but he's got more than enough star power out there. It's not exactly a third squad, shall we say. You know, they still have Saliba out there with Gabriel to defend. You know, it's that kind of age-old question. With the top four, or what is known as the top six these days, what is a weaker squad? Is the kind of rule. I mean, you wouldn't feel, certainly if you could avoid it, you wouldn't feel the second or third squad against Manchester City. Let's be completely honest. So Mikel Arteta hasn't done that. But he's got definitely his best centre-back pairing out there and his best goalkeeper. He's just left the best strikers out. And Havertz is actually a capable striker in his own right anyway. So he finds De Bruyne. And Gabriel and Saliba had Haaland mostly in their pockets for about 90% of the match, apart from one goal that Gabriel pretty much gave them to a degree. But by that time, Arsenal were 2 or 3-1 up and then ran away from there. Savino. Oh, and De Bruyne. Oh, that's a good goal, to be fair. A very good goal by Kevin De Bruyne. That is an absolute screamer. Well, you can't put that on Arteta or maybe the squad selection. That's just a good goal from Kevin De Bruyne, to be fair. Tomiyasu gets spun out, and the header back from Phil Foden is right into De Bruyne's. That is a very well-worked goal. A very well-worked goal. Raya is unlucky because he does try to get there. That's not the questions that may have been asked. That's just a really good goal from Manchester City. Full credit. Phil Foden, a cushion header right into the path of De Bruyne, and there was no one that was stopping that. 1-0 City. They have a 2-1 lead on aggregate now, and I think that's deserved because that was a really good goal. And Arsenal will try and see if they can get their own. And sadly, because of the way this works, because there's no Wembley semi-finals, I believe that means if Arsenal lose today, then they lose their 100% home record. So they won't want to lose this game for that reason. So we'll just have to keep an eye on if Arsenal are playing hard in this one, or maybe sagging a bit from the Premier League encounter. They did get 5 goals, so there's really no excuse for Arsenal not to get at least more than one here, one or more. But like I said, their home record will be at stake at the moment. I mean, they got a goal draw out of the head he had, which is always a tough place to play. And here's Kai Havertz. And he shoots. And he probably should have taken some more steps in before he shot that one. He had a lot more space than he probably realised, to be fair. Well, that goal was just one of City's best goals this season, to be fair. And they've scored a lot of them. That's why they're in these positions. There is Foden. Tackled by Tomiyasu. It's a very early goal for Arsenal to concede. They don't really concede early, usually. I'm not really keen on this third kit for City. It just doesn't mesh well. I don't think the colour choices were the right choices. Oh my word. It's a free kick to Manchester City because of handball against Saliba, with the ball coming at him full pelt from David Raya's kick. I think that's a bit harsh, to be honest. The rules have been applied, so Kevin De Bruyne will now take this free kick. Will he try the Leo Golden trick and put it in the other corner? I don't think he can. I think David Raya is actually standing there. Oh, he's at the bar, though. Oh, that was close. Kevin De Bruyne, what a strike. Raya, I don't think was getting to that. Well, if Arsenal do go out here, then this season has to end in a trophy of some kind. That's for sure. To make the bold strategy pay off of... Oh, they're not playing hard, are they? Let's be honest. This isn't a third squad from Arteta. He's throwing in his best possible players. He's got the both on the bench, you could argue, but Kai Havertz is no slouch. There's still Martin Odegaard here as well. And there's still William Saliba and Gabriel. So it's not a third squad, is it? So you can't accuse Arteta of maybe throwing this match for the Premier League encounter. You just can't. It's impossible to do. Here's Foden. So City 2-1 aggregate. No away goal rule. So even if Arsenal were to score here, the score would still be 2-2 on aggregate. I'm pretty sure the semi-finals were supposed to be played at Wembley, but I'm not sure if that's the FA Cup or whether they actually stopped that for this season. They might have actually done that now that I think about it. To Gabriel, and Silvino's all over him, and Gabriel has kept the ball and kept it for a save. Skelly has found Fabio Vieira. Now Havertz. Havertz will shoot. Well, Havertz is still probably regaining some match fitness after having a long stint out with injury. Moreno is still on the injured list, as is Martinelli. Martinelli is out for the rest of the season, of course. I just found Wanyeri here. Havertz is going into the box. Wanyeri's trying to pick him out, but Edison is there to gather up the ball. So for a spot in the Carabao Cup final, which will be contested in March, and I think we're hearing that Liverpool may be the opponents waiting for either one of these teams. And for the moment, seems like it's Manchester City, much to Arsenal's dismay. But if they're celebrating the Premier League at the end of it, I don't think they're going to mind too much. It's a good save by David Raya. I think there will be questions over the performance, though, because don't forget, this is a team that just scored 5 against them last time out. For them, anyway. Foden didn't get all behind that. Saliba didn't get all behind that clearance either, but luckily, Wanyeri was there to pick it up. Tierney's touch was too heavy, and it's out for throw. Kabore, Modri, good looking ball, Foden, and De Bruyne. Oh, this is beautiful stuff. And now Haaland, and Saliba blocks it, and Foden puts that one wide. Beautiful play from City. And it just ended up in a pretty poor shot, but not the attempt. It was just a poor strike, really, because of how wide it went. Havertz. Arsenal certainly, you can't accuse them of not playing. There's Vieira. And Ruben Diaz. Moves Vieira out of space. There's Skelly to Odegaard. Havertz to shoot. Oh! That wasn't far off. I think he was urged to shoot, so he did, and it wasn't a bad choice at all. Except for it didn't score a goal, but the choice was the right one. It was very close. There's Haaland, smothered by Gabriel again. He's going to be very happy at the fact he doesn't have to ever play Gabriel ever again this season, as he struggled against him. Gabriel's had his number for the most part. And there he is again. Good corner to Foden. Foden gets absolutely rammed into there. Oh, lucky not to be booked. Johnson keeps the ball. Oh, no way. I think he was looking at Odegaard. Mathias and Haaland. Good save, Raya. But here comes Foden. Foden pulling out the tricks. He missed the shot. It's a good save from Raya against Haaland. You really got to be your best to stop him. And even that's then sometimes it's not enough. But Raya was enough there. Let's head to De Bruyne. And City have had a lot of the ball in the last few minutes, that's for sure. Yeah, brilliant. Boy, he does tackle him, but Arsenal keep the ball. Oh, Odegaard gave it away. Arsenal have been a little step slow today. Not been really careful with the ball. A little bit careless with it. Usually they play teams off the park. And we're seeing this transfer yet again. Today going to Copenhagen. We know. Not sure whether the game keeps showing the same two transfers that for the last 10 games now, I think. But feels like, but yeah. Just to confirm it, I guess. You know, even though Gyökeres joining Arsenal was probably no respect to Sadek, a lot bigger. I think even Libro Yaro was probably a bigger signing, to be fair, just about unexpected it was. And it's a Foden. Well, Manchester City seem to have gone back to the strategy that they employed in the first game against Arsenal. And it seems to be working. Mathias has put it in off his head, and it's 2-1. And David Raya went completely the wrong way. We don't really see goals off corners like that very often. Actually, it wasn't off a corner, it was off a cross. Let's see. Oh, it's in off Saliba. I think it'll be an own goal, to be fair. So that's why Raya was seeing the wrong way. That's a really unfortunate nick. Will it be an own goal? Yep. How unfortunate. Manchester City 2, Arsenal 0. And that was 3-1 on aggregate. And I think the tie, as far as the tie is concerned, it looks over. But we know that Arsenal can turn up the whip, but today they don't seem at it. Which is probably to be expected. I think the first match took a lot out of the team. And Arteta was very reluctant to use Isak and Saka, bring them up off the bench. Next for them, Arsenal that is, yet another North London derby, this time in the 4th round of the FA Cup, would you believe? And Rodri has kept that in. And Mathias has forced a corner. And maybe Arteta has one eye on that one as well, because there's another North London derby that he'll want to win, just to dampen the misery of Postecoglou's season against his North London rivals. So maybe Arteta does have one eye on that match as well. It is a tough part of the season to navigate, and squad rotation is bound to happen. But Arsenal, sadly, today don't look a bit out of sorts, and the home record of 100% at the Emirates Stadium could be sadly going today. Manchester City have definitely looked a step ahead, and they lead 2-0 at the break and 3-1 on aggregate now. Welcome back to the Emirates for the second half of this Carabao Cup second leg. And if the pitch was damp, if the atmosphere was damp before because of the rain, it's probably not going to get any better for the next 45. Arsenal have definitely looked second best in this one. Calvori has come on for William Saliba, and Erling Haaland has everyone beat for pace here, and he scored it, and it's definitely over now. And who else but Erling Haaland? Well, where was this City team just a few days ago? That'll be the question. But where is the Arsenal team gone would be another. And, well, if Arteta was using this as, like, well, not to throw it, because, to be fair, he did put some of his best players out there. But he's not using the ultra best. Saka and Isak are not among the substitutes coming on. So if this is really just to gain the advantage in the league, Arteta has to win it. Otherwise it could spell curtains for him. And that would be really unfortunate. Well, Manchester City 3, Arsenal 0. You'd think... Well, it's not that Arsenal haven't played hard, let's be honest. They have. But I think the Premier League fixture took so much out of them because they were so desperate to win that one and increase their lead to 5 points. And I actually think that in Arsenal's situation, that wasn't a bad idea on paper. But the fact is, it wouldn't be so much pressure for the end of the season if Arsenal had won a trophy or two between the last 5 years, which they haven't. Chests it, Raya throws himself at it and gets the ball. A lot of people do say the Carabao Cup is the smaller one, and logistically it is. But would the FA Cup be enough at this point, considering if Arsenal were to win the FA Cup again, theoretically, even though they'd already won it, would that actually be enough this time? Haaland scores and makes it 4-0. Well, where was this City team a few days ago? That'll be an interesting question. A question needs to be raised on that. But Arsenal definitely let the steps slow. And the crowd is not happy. And you can't blame them, to be honest. They've seen 100% no loss at the Etihad all season long. And now they're about to taste their first loss of the season. Does it really matter in the whole scheme of things? It depends. To me, if Arsenal win the league, then no. It won't matter so much at all. But I think this kind of performance today really has put pressure on Arteta to win this title now. And we were all euphoric about it. Well, me as a neutral and everyone else as Arsenal fans or maybe neutrals themselves. So all those were kind of euphoric about it. Now, you have questions being asked. I don't think Arsenal are throwing this match. I really don't. I don't see it. Arteta's squad didn't reflect that. So I know a lot of people say, oh, he's throwing the match with the Premier League. I disagree. Gabriel and Saliba were definitely signs that he didn't want to concede, for sure. He's up against Erling Haaland and Phil Foden. And they could score on any given day. And here they are now. Foden is offside. But yeah, it's going to put a lot of pressure on this team now to win this league title, because I don't know if the FA Cup would suffice when you think about it, considering they have a 5-point lead right now. For the last 2 years, I've always said, for the last 2 years, you can't really say Arsenal bottled it, because for definitely the first season, no one had gave them a hope 2 seasons ago. No one gave anyone else a chance against Manchester City. Arsenal really played the roles of the underdogs. You cannot bottle what you were never really in contention with to begin with. They came out of nowhere is what I mean. You know, no one had gave them any hope of doing anything to Manchester City. And they did. They took it to like 5 points in the end. This season, last season probably had a bit more expectation on them considering that, but I still don't think they actually bottled it. Now, there's really no excuse. Especially if they drop out of this one. They have Isak. They've made all the right signs in all the right places. But the fact that they've built this 5-point lead and somewhat sacrificed the Carabao Cup to a degree, which I don't think they did purposefully, it does put a lot of pressure on Arteta now. He needs to capitalise on this 5-point lead. He basically needs to win every game. Because unless there's a monumental collapse of some kind, I don't see City losing again. Chelsea, they were probably just more unlucky. And Arsenal, well, they just really gave it their best. Havertz just hit the post. And it's just Arsenal's night, really. And we haven't really said that a lot this season, but yes, they could win the FA Cup, but if they win the FA Cup and not the league, would that actually be enough at this point? For Arsenal, probably yes, because they haven't won a cup in 5 years. So there is that as well, I guess. But it puts real pressure on this team now. They're not throwing the match, but they were nowhere near as good as they were in the Premier League fixture just a few days ago. Now, there is a few days, and obviously fatigue and tiredness. You know, these players are human beings. You know, they're not robots who have limited energy. They're human beings. They're living, breathing human beings. And people get tired. And when you get tired, you get sloppy. And I don't think Arsenal have been overly sloppy today, but they've certainly not been at their best. This whole football match has turned into a whole discussion because City are already winning by 4-0, so we haven't really got much else to talk about. This would probably be a left for an analysis show, really. But yeah, there is going to be pressure now. And again, like I said at the Etihad, it's the response that will be important. And it will be winning every game in this league. Probably bar one. They could probably drop a point or two. They can't lose. And especially can't lose against a team they're not expected to lose. And I think the only team they're not expected to lose... no, they could be expected to lose again is... Well, they could drop points to Bournemouth if Aaron Ramsdale plays a goal. That could be one. But aside from that, I don't really see any other match that Arsenal should lose on paper. Even Manchester United. Because Manchester United is just nowhere near what it used to be. Arsenal have taken them to school twice already. They've already played City both times. And they've only lost to City in the league. So they've beaten everyone else. So it's interesting, isn't it? Kovacic has come on for Nunes. And Arsenal really just don't look at it for a difference here. And now Kevin De Bruyne is going to take this free kick. We all know what happened the last time he took one, he hit the post. And this time he puts it into Rosette. Double substitution for Mikel Arteta. And it's not Isak and Saka, because there's really no point to putting them on at this point. He's gone with Trossard and Pantano instead for Nelson and Odegaard, I think. So Odegaard's gone off. So there is a bit of load management involved with Odegaard. The ball is bounced all the way through. And no one's there to meet it in an Arsenal shirt. Well, for the first time this season, Arsenal have been thoroughly beaten. And it's not been the case for most of this year. City, they were for the first half, but then came back to lessen the damage. So it's against City again, isn't it? So really, in logistic theory, Arsenal should win this league with a game or so to spare because they have a 5-point lead and should beat everybody else. Now, it's football. Nothing is ever certain in football. You can never know. It's important that Arsenal just don't drop too many points, I guess. You'll probably take draws, like I said. Just keep the points coming in. Doesn't really matter which one. Unless City are right behind you and you're a point clear. Then, yeah, maybe that would matter a bit. But they can probably afford to drop maybe 2 draws, maybe. And I see them possibly drawing against Bournemouth if Aaron Ramsdale plays. They don't have to fight Spurs again. They've already done that twice. I mean, would you look at that Spurs game as maybe a pivotal point? Probably not anymore. Because they went and won against City at the Emirates. Well, here's Trossard. Arsenal are nowhere. They literally are nowhere. For the first time this year, Arsenal looking a bit slow. And of course, don't forget, Arsenal have the Champions League to contend with as well. And I think the draw is pretty soon. So we don't know who they'll get. But if they get a Bayern Munich or if they get a Real Madrid, then I don't think a lot of people give them a lot of chance against Real Madrid. They lost 6-4 the last time those two faced off. And if they could get like a Bayern Munich, that would be interesting. Because we don't really know. Bayern Munich are a top side. You know, they're top of the Bundesliga. So there is that. And they do have Harry Kane, which would be a rather interesting matchup. Former Spurs player, of course. Toss up with the ball into Pantano. And not even a small ray of sunshine for those Arsenal fans tonight. We've turned this whole match into more of a discussion, to be honest. But I think it's really because City is so far out of sight, really. And it was certainly the team that came to play in the first match rather than the second one. Well, I don't think you can blame this on Arteta's team selection. I just don't think so, in my opinion. His team didn't have all their best players in it. And for some reason, there can be a multitude of reasons for each one. Isak and Saka, load management reasons, probably. But yeah, I don't think Arteta set up his team to lose this game. I think the shocking thing is how they've lost, though. 4-0 after scoring 5 in the last one. It's going to be a bit of a shock. And I don't think... And the reason why I don't think that is because there's a home record at stake here that Arsenal are about to lose. They've had 100%. They've had about 95% wins and one draw. No. Arsenal have won all their games at home this season bar this one. 100%. Well, I know we turned this one into a whole discussion, but City just played Arsenal off the park today. And for the first time this season, Arsenal have looked second best. We hope it's not a trend that continues. But like I said, now this puts pressure on Arteta and the team to win this league title and to prove that maybe this was just a blip in the road. And maybe people could look at it as a sacrifice to win the bigger prize. Any trophy's a big prize, though, isn't it? And when you're Arsenal and you're 5 years without a trophy, I think it's even bigger than that. We'll have to see how the rest of the season pans out. Pantano's certainly putting in a shift. And he scored. And he doesn't celebrate because there's absolutely no need to. Well, it's a comfort for him and a bit of a comfort for Arsenal at least, but they have looked second best today. Coutinho scores. It's 5-1 though. It's 4-1 rather. It'll be 5-2 on aggregate now. Coutinho doesn't even bother celebrating even for himself. That's the team mentality that Mikel Arteta will certainly be happy with. The team lost, and the team is always first before individual results, or at least in my opinion. I was always brought up to be that way. And today, I think Pantano has shown real maturity there. And I hope he gets more of a shot soon. I think with Moreno out, he probably should. Probably not be a starter yet, but he's certainly on a good road for it. Well, Haaland and De Bruyne have been the stars of the show for City tonight, and Arsenal haven't kept up with them, and maybe it's a bit of a carryover from the Premier League fixture. which took a lot out of them because they were so up for winning that one. But don't forget, Isak played 90 minutes and didn't stop running. So maybe Arteta, maybe that had something to do with the reason. Well, like I said at the Etihad, it's the response that Mikel Arteta will want now. And it's going to ask there is going to be some questions asked, which Arsenal will have to answer. They didn't throw this match, but they certainly lost it. Haaland scored 2, and De Bruyne got a rocket right at the start of the game, and Arsenal never really recovered from there. And it was a pretty poor night by their standards, and the 100% winning record at home is now gone. Questions will be asked. City 4, Arsenal 1. It obviously means that City won 5-2 on aggregate. The other match, Chelsea and Liverpool, ended 2-2 on aggregate, but then Liverpool progressed on penalties. And that, of course, means it's going to be a Liverpool and Manchester City Carabao Cup final on March the 16th at Wembley. And we will be there as part of our new schedule to bring it to you live.